Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. And if you're looking for undervalued investment opportunities, click subscribe to the channel, join our community. Let's ride this commodity bull market up together. Today, I'm going to go over uranium technical analysis. I'm going to show you some investing setups. There's going to be a little bit of training or chart reading training in this. So let's dive in. We're going to look at investing setups is what I call this one. I'm going to go over a basic downtrend reversal. So on the left-hand side here, this is a downtrend. This is point 1. We're going in a downtrend. And the downtrend gets broken. So it breaks the downtrend. Then we make a higher low, which is point number 2. And then we break this high right here for a higher high. This is called a trend reversal. It's called a 1-2-3 bullish trend reversal, or a Trader Vic 1-2-3. So we've got the downtrend line. We've got a low, breaks, step 1, step 2 is a higher low, step 3 is the break of this high here, which is a new uptrend. This is what I look for in bottoming patterns for trend reversals. This is a very short, tight pattern. Sometimes these are very long and drawn out. Downtrend, accumulation phase, and an uptrend. You can also see it as that. When I look at this sector and I look at commodities in general, just to give you guys a little bit of background, the commodity SP500 ratio is one of the things I look at. This is a ratio. Anything low in this ratio means that it's buy for commodities, sell for commodities, and buy the S&P 500 at the top. We are at an incredibly low 0.05 valuation, never been this low in history. This is real time, which means that commodities not only broke its downtrend, but are incredibly low on a valuation basis against stocks. So I'm looking at commodities and the sectors in commodities because of this valuation here. Now, if I zoom in on the right-hand side here, remember we're looking at this downtrend line break. We broke the downtrend line, step 1. Step 2 is to make a higher low, low, higher low. Step 3 is to break this guy here. We are about to break out of this and form a new uptrend in the commodity to S&P 500 ratio. And maybe that's why the Federal Reserve and everyone else is trying to hold commodities and gold down. Is because if this thing starts a new uptrend, maybe it triggers algorithms or whatever it is to the upside. Here is the gold to uranium price ratio. Again, this is the gold to uranium price ratio. So we are at a little bit around 57-ish, 58 pounds of uranium to 1 ounce gold. That means that we are at an historical anomaly in terms of how cheap uranium is in relationship to gold. And you can kind of see that this uptrend is in a sideways channel movement. So we've been moving higher in the ratio since 07, and we've stopped. This is to take note because the uptrend ceases to exist. We are putting in a phase that moves sideways and will most likely head lower at some point, especially if the whole commodity sector is breaking its downtrend. So the gold to uranium ratio is favorable uranium. Uranium is ultra cheap, huge opportunity in uranium. And this is one of the reasons why I like uranium so much. Now here's blue sky uranium. I'm going to show you a little bit more analysis here. We've got the downtrend line right here. We've got the lows making higher and higher lows in here. This is the COVID sell-off. It was going to break and probably try to break somewhere in 2019, 2020, but we had this nice little sell-off here. So we had a low, higher low, higher low. We came back for 2020 COVID, but we broke out to the upside in late 2020. There's lots of volume in this red box that I have in this box here. Tons of volume. The average price that this volume's getting in is probably somewhere around 13 cents. The price is above 13 cents right now, and I think this is going to provide a cushion and support level underneath the price of where it's at right now. So that's one thing I wanted to touch on. We broke the downtrend. We've got a nice support area underneath the current price. So it's low downside risk, very big upside potential, and the valuation of the gold to uranium ratio is favorable uranium, which means the money is not in this sector yet. But we can see that money's rotating in to this stock. We're going to zoom in on the right-hand side. We've got the downtrend line. We're zooming in here. Higher lows coming up. If this holds, it'll be another higher low. And if we look, what we did here is we broke out of the downtrend, step 1. We came back, step 2 with a higher low. And step 3 is to break it. We are in a new uptrend, and we're retesting, backtesting this uptrend right now. It could come down and swoop and do whatever depending on the overall market, but we are in a new uptrend now. That is what's important. Now I've got these 2 red boxes here. Another thing I look at is I look for power, strength. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up days. It went up, 0.04 to almost 20 cents. So let's say it's 5 cents to 20 cents. It went up 4x in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 4 or 5 days, it went up a 4x. Then we got the slow leak off of sellers. We went from this low here to a higher low. This movement is an indication, if you were to look at this and how fast this did this, this is a prelude to a very much larger move coming up. This move and the way the signature this move has is the same as SM Energy. It's the same as a lot of these other oil stocks and other stocks I've seen to a very large move, a prelude to a very large move. We moved up, we broke out of this, we're in a new uptrend, and we're just back testing. So I bought some back here. Does this mean that this is the best possible stock ever? I don't know, but I put some money in it. I'm riding it higher. And I'm not going to get scared out of it. Here's Baseload. I think Baseload has another very compelling setup. We've got this upward sloping channel. It broke the channel to the downside, and it took time to consolidate. It took time over February, March, April, May, June, July, and we finally broke out of the downtrend line. What I am proposing in some of these companies is that we are breaking patterns not as big as this one, and it takes time to consolidate for a little bit. This one took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months maybe, and now we're finally going to try to head up here. I'm going to zoom in on the right-hand side. We've got the downtrend line here. We broke to the upside, step 1, came up, step 2, higher low, and then step 3, we're trying to break out, which means that we're going to go into a new uptrend. What I have circled here is a bullish engulfing pattern. It's got a little bit higher volume. This is bullish. This is the day that I would have bought Baseload. On this day here, we are still in a very low area, which is a good time to cost average in. I let everyone on the channel know that I would have bought on this day. Why didn't I buy in my personal account? I already own a lot of Baseload, a lot. So right here, we're about to enter into a new uptrend, which is great. Now here is an accumulation phase. You've got a downtrend coming in. You have a sideways movement, which is accumulation phase. And then you have an uptrend. I like to buy when things are down and when things are changing and market conditions are changing and when ratios are cheap. We have a cheap uranium to gold ratio, which means uranium as a sector is cheap in relationship to history. It means the money has flowed out of the sector and eventually will flow back into the sector given the right market conditions. The market conditions are changing. We have inflation, and the market's going to try to force interest rates higher, and that's why the Federal Reserve is doing quantitative easing. They're holding rates lower and forcing it lower and manipulating interest rates to manipulate the entire world's asset prices. So this is what I look for in some of our investments. We've got deep yellow. We've got the downtrend phase. We've got the accumulation phase down here, and we're trying to break and move into an uptrend phase. So I also like deep yellow because of the characteristics of this chart, because I like deep yellow and its management team. Here's GGX Uranium. Again, this thing has been kind of moving sideways, cup and handle pattern kind of. Could it go even lower? It could. But we're trying to break out here. And this is kind of an accumulation phase. Bannerman, same thing. Downtrend to an accumulation phase over a long period of time, and we're trying to break up to create this uptrend move. I own Bannerman. I think it's a good looking chart. Laramide, downtrend, accumulation phase. Now we got to turn this corner and move to an uptrend. Now, in the short term, looking at URNM, this is North Shore Global Uranium Mining ETF. We squeezed up into this ascending wedge pattern, and we broke to the downside. I think it's going to take some time for this to consolidate. I don't think it's going to be super quick. Now, this is not a huge pattern here. Maybe it takes a month or two to consolidate down here before moving higher. CCJ, we've got this uptrend channel going up. I think we're breaking to the downside, and I think we're going to have to consolidate. We're going to have a pullback consolidation period. Nextgen, so this was our launching pad. Came down, came up, had this nice little launching pad right here with this nice sideways action. And for information, silver's doing this kind of right now, this sideways action. Broke to the upside, nice impulse move higher, created an ascending wedge, and I think we're going to break to the downside possibly here and consolidate for a little bit with sideways motion or something's moving downward to sideways. Denison Mines is doing the same thing. On a big picture view, you've got this launching pad launched up, kind of consolidating here. We're breaking down a little bit. We broke the uptrend, and maybe it'll consolidate for a little bit longer. UU, same exact patterns. The launching pad, and then we came up and we were losing steam. The buyers started to equal the sellers. That's why we have this ascending wedge, and we broke to the downside here recently. Western Uranium Vanadium Corp, you can see this big long-term perspective. Just looking at this guy, we've got a uptrend line, hit its head, and we're coming on back. Is it going to do another bull shape, or is it going to do another cup and handle? We'll see what happens. Uranium Royalty Corporation, here's your launching pad. Right here, broke out, back tested, and shot higher. Lost some steam, broke to the downside of this little channel, and we've been consolidating for a little bit. Maybe it'll consolidate for a little bit longer, but it doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of consolidation already. So I'm thinking sideways, a little bit longer sideways. Maybe we have one last little dip before it moves up. But that's another one I'm watching. So overall, that's all I did for charting this sector. I didn't want to do all the companies. They're all exhibiting very similar patterns to these. So I think I captured the overall sector with this. The best charts are the ones that have these big accumulation patterns like Deep Yellow, Bannerman, Laramide. They haven't broken out of them yet. They may still consolidate sideways longer because I don't see the other, sector really, turning on the juice here. They're lagging, they're breaking down, they're going into pullback consolidation mode. I'm not doing anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm not looking at this like, oh man, I need to get out of it because my account can go down. I view things much different, I guess, than a lot of people. I view uranium as a strategic asset possibly, or something that we are going to have to go to in the future. I look at the big picture view of things, and I'll do another clip on that and the way that I view my investments. But on the short term, downside pressure, sideways. But long term, with the valuation of uranium to gold, I see this as being an absolute winner on a long-term perspective, being 5+ years. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.